Hello my friends, around the corner is Black Friday and there are some pre-Black Friday deals out there. And so today I'm going to be showing you my top 10 under $10 pre-Black Friday deals. Now Noble Knight is a sponsor of the channel, and one of the cool things they do is they buy and sell pre-owned games. And so pretty much all these are going to be pre-owned games. However, they're not all just little card games. Some of these are bigger box games that are actually under $10. So another caveat about this is, since these are in limited quantities, if you see something that seems interesting to you, you better go quickly and get them, because there's usually only a few quantities of each of these, in some cases even one. But I went through sort of the bargain bin. I spent hours, looking through their bargain bins and finding what I felt like was the coolest things under $10. So here we go. Before I get to the moment you've been waiting for, I wanted to tell you about the Sell Trade program at Noble Knight Games. Now, as gamers, we all have games that are cluttering our shelves that we either don't have the right group for or might even not like it. Well, now you can turn those unappreciated games into cash or store credit. Noble Knight Games buys thousands of games and gaming products. It's easy to send them a list of the games that you'd like to sell or trade. Now they'll send you a quote and even pay for the shipping of the games. Get treated and paid like royalty while you sit back and collect cash or store credit. To get started, click the link in the description of this video or in that upper right corner there, and then click the Sell Trade button.
Number 10.
All right, the first one is Pandemic Hot Zone North America. Now this came out a few years ago, and it's basically a smaller version, more of a mass market version of the popular game Pandemic. We're sort of just scaled down. The board's smaller, there's less cards, there's less actions, there's less of everything, but it's still interesting. It still feels like Pandemic, but it's like a mini version. It's almost as if the Ticket to Ride started selling the smaller Ticket to Ride games where they're, 20 minutes and they're quicker and you can play that, and if everyone likes it, then you play the big game. This is pretty much the same thing, where it's a smaller version of Pandemic. It's quicker, it's faster, it's easier to teach, it's easier to get people to get into, and this is a great onboarding game to get people to understand new hobby games and cooperative games, and if they like this, you can take them to something like a bigger Pandemic or things like that. And this one is $5 on the site, Pandemic Hot Zone North America.
Number 9.
All right, this next one is a two-player duel game based upon a Spiel des Jahres winner of King Domino. Let me give you a 1-minute overview of what King Domino Duel's like. King Domino Duel is a two-player roll and write game where each player is going to be filling in their score sheet, but over the course of the game you're going to be rolling and drafting these big chunky dice. Now what you're trying to do is create kingdoms that are adjacent to each other with the same coat of arms, and also get a lot of crosses in those, because your points are going to be the amount of these next to each other times the amount of crosses there. Now a player will be rolling the dice, and the first player will select a die. The other player will then get to select any two of them, and then the start player is left with this one. That's how the drafting works. And then you'll build a domino in any direction and draw it on your sheet, but you must match one of these up with something that's already there, or put it next to your castle. Like in this case, I put it in this orientation in here because this matched this. And sometimes you'll be taking dice without those crosses that give you points, and you'll be able to move up different tracks that allow you to possibly, once filled out, use a one-time special ability that is no longer available to your opponent. And you're alternating turns, drafting those dice, adding them to your kingdom, and trying to get large areas and lots of crosses to get big points in the end. Yeah, I think King Domino Duel is an underrated game. I don't even really like roll and writes anymore. I'm kind of burnt out on them, but this one is so fun because it uses that sort of Mr. Jack style drafting. First player gets 1, the other player gets 2, and the last player gets 1. You're trying to give them something that doesn't really do anything good for them. And this one is $6.30. It was one of the copies I saw there online.
Number 8.
This next one is called Dead Last. This is the big group sort of party game with some social deduction aspects. Let me give you a 1-minute overview of how this works. Dead Last is a social collusion game for 6 to 12 players where you're all playing multiple rounds and trying to be the last one standing in each round so you can take the loot. In this game, there's no traitors or allies. You could be either at any moment in the game. You're trying to collude with other people to vote off people by killing them and being the last person standing. After about 1 minute of social collusion, everyone will flip over their secret vote card. The one with the most votes is eliminated, so is anybody else that didn't vote with the majority. So this person's gone, and this person's gone, and this person's gone. But if blue knew it was coming for them, could have played his ambush card for blue. This person stays alive and gets to pick one person who tried to kill him and eliminate them, turn the tables, but if they weren't a target, they would have killed themselves. If you're the last player standing at the end of the round, you will get all 4 gold cards to yourself secretly that range from 3 to 5. If there are 2 players at the end, you go through a secret stage where you'll be selecting to steal, grab just one, or share, and depending on what you both pick, certain funny things will happen. Be the first to get 24 or 25 points depending on the amount of players, and you will be the winner. Yeah, this has always sort of been a staple end of the night or beginning of the night game when everyone's getting there and you're getting ready to break off into bigger games. It's so fun. It's so fun colluding with people and trying to show people, hey, get him. And then they look at you and they're like scratching your head, trying to figure it out. This is one of those quick, easy games to play. It's always a lot of fun. $4.50 this one was listed for when I checked it out.
Number 7.
This next one was also a Spiel des Jahres, I believe a winner, way back in the day, a big box game of Zularedo. When I say big box, like a standard size box, not a small little card game. Zularedo for $7, unbelievable. In this game, you're sort of drafting trucks. You're trying to place things out in the zoo. You're trying to go to concession stands. But you're trying not to have too many of the same animal or it will screw things up. So you're building your own zoo, placing animals. This is sort of like, it's a Spiel des Jahres family weight game, but it won the award back in the day, I believe it did. And it's one of those games that's out of print, which is cool because you can't get Zularedo unless you play like through the nose for huge copies somewhere. I saw it for $7 on normal night. So Zularedo, sort of a classic family game. I can't believe it's this inexpensive for like a ticketerized size box game.
Number 6.
This next one is a party game called Ultimate Showdown. Let me give you a 1-minute overview of how this works. In Ultimate Showdown, you'll be putting in who you think are the best contenders for a specific challenge, and randomly they'll get assigned, and then there'll be lots of conversation as to, in this case, who's the richest, Bugs Bunny or Madonna, Santa Claus or Superman, Michael Jackson or George Washington, Dr. Evil or Sherlock Holmes, Madonna versus Santa Claus, Michael Jackson versus Dr. Evil, and Madonna versus Michael Jackson. Based upon this, people had secretly bet who was going to win, who was going to get in the finals, and who was going to win at least one round, and then you score your points accordingly. But the crux of the game is the discussions that happen between each of those, and the game is absolutely hilarious in that right. The challenges change every round, the people change every round, but after 4 rounds, all 8 people that made it to the finals go into a final Ultimate Showdown with a new challenge, and points are doubled and raises the stakes. Really fun party game. Yeah, there's many games out there that do the whole, hey, let's set up a bracket and see who's going to win and who's going to end up winning. But this one's cool because not only do you have the bracket and you're trying to fill it with the people you think are going to win, but then you're also able to bet on who you think is going to come in first, second, based upon what's out there. And I think that's cool because you might not have the right card, but you can still do well betting. And the randomness of the card draw is going to sort of even out over time. Really fun type of game like that if you like that style of game. $8 on Noble Night.
Number 5.
This next one is a really fun cooperative game, a small box game that's out of print and impossible to find, which is cool as why it's here. Okie Dokie. Let me give you a 1-minute overview of how this works. Okie Dokie is a cooperative game for 1 to 5 players where you're trying to play 50 cards, 10 columns of 5 cards, and each of those rows are going to be a suit, like a microphone or a piano or drums, and they have to go ascending order from left to right as they're played. You can't say exactly what you have, but you can give vague clues like, hey, I'm pretty good at the microphone this round because I have the very next number. You have to fill up an entire column before you move to the next, and each column has to have exactly one of those rests to reset things back to 0 so you can easily ascend on out. I love this cooperative game. It sort of reminds me of like the game called The Game, but this is way better than that in my opinion. It's a great solitaire game too. If you ever played like the old solitaire Windows game on the PC, or you play solitaire like for real on the table, this game has a solitaire feeling, but it's a million times better than solitaire, but it also plays well with more people in a cooperative game. There is a newer version of this out. I think it's called Level 10. It's like an old style, like pixelated video game theme. But this theme is so much more fun and so just the art looks good, the different instruments. This is just a fun cooperative game with limited communication. Okie dokie.
Number 4.
This next one is a 2-player in-the-box version of Star Wars Destiny, which was a collectible card game that has recently stopped being supported. I mean, they're not printing new cards, but there are still tons of aftermarket cards ready for this. Let me give you a 1-minute overview of how this works. This 2-player version of Star Wars Destiny allows one player to play as the villains of Kylo Ren and Captain Phasma, while the hero side will play as Rey and Poe. You'll be trying to deal damage to the other player's characters, and once you meet their limit, they'll be destroyed, and you're trying to destroy both characters in order to win. On your turn, you'll be rolling dice, activating characters, and then later resolving these dice, depending on what those dice do for each of the characters. You'll be spending resources to play cards like events that allow you to do different things, like give shields to character, which will help them when they get hit. Some cards are support that you can pay to play, and some of these come with dice that you can activate just as if it was like a character. Or sometimes you can pay to upgrade, like Poe's Blaster, which also comes with its own die, and also gets rolled anytime you activate the character it's attached to. Now the game's very expandable, it comes with all these dice and the cards, but you can also add to it many other booster sets and other starter kits that are out there. Yeah, I don't play a lot of collectible card games, but I gotta say, out of all the ones that I have played, this is my favorite one because it mixes both card play and dice rolling. It's a good mix of luck and strategy. You can mitigate those dice rolls as well with different resources. And it's a fantastic game. Now, even though you can't get cards for these brand new anymore, there's still tons of them for sale on the open market, and they're not crazy expensive, and they're not like crazy Magic prices. But this is a great starter set where 2 players can play. You don't have to worry about buying extra cards. You could just play this game and never buy extra cards, and it's still a great game. Star Wars Destiny 2-player.
Number 3.
This next one is a cooperative game called Rising 5. It's a standard Ticket to Ride size box game for $8. What? Vincent Dutray art. Here's a 1-minute overview of how this works. Rising 5 is a cooperative and deduction game for 1 to 5 players. It takes about 30 minutes to play. You'll be trying to find out which of the 4 runes belongs here and in which location do they each belong in. And each of those runes is secretly tied to a different animal each game. You're trying to figure out which one resolves with which and which ones are in the right spots. On your turn, you're going to be playing cards to activate a character a certain amount of times. You'll be going to locations and sometimes combating against different monsters. Sometimes you'll be taking actions to try to light up these 4 towers, which will allow you to try to guess if you're right again. And even though you can play any character on your turn, each of them has a special ability that will help you out. But the draw deck will fight back, and over the course of the game, this will be getting moved down, and if ever it comes down to here, you lose the game, or if you run out of cards, you lose the game before you figure out the puzzle. And throughout the game, you'll be finding powerful artifacts that give you good one-time abilities, and you'll be fighting boss monsters, which will give you huge relics that are great for powerful moves. The thing I really liked about Rising 5 when I played it was, of course, the Vincent Dutray art looks amazing, but it has familiar cooperative mechanisms, but then laid on top of that is basically Mastermind. A cooperative deduction game where you're changing a variable and see how things change, and you're using the app to figure out, hey, did we get it, did we not? And that deduction twist on top of a standard style cooperative game makes this game different from everything else. Rising 5.
Number 2.
This next one is a very underrated game called Spy Club, originally from Renegade Game Studios. I found this one for $5 online, $5.40 actually. Here's a 1-minute overview of how this works. Spy Club is a 2 to 4 player cooperative game where you'll be one of these characters working together to try to solve neighborhood mysteries. You'll be trying to solve all 5 aspects like the motive, suspect, location, crime, and object by getting 5 of that type of aspect to solve it. You'll be trying to find the right clues by investigating cards, and you can also trade cards with others that have the same focus type as you. You'll be able to shift your focus to line up with other players, which allow you to do bonus actions together, and you'll be getting new ideas as you do this, which will help you get more cards in the future. But watch out, because each round the suspect is on the move, and sometimes they'll move up this escape track, and if they get to the end, the game has ended. And the suspect also moves along other people's cards, activating other detrimental events. Now, Spy Club is a mosaic game, which means you'll unlock new rules and other elements that change the game every time you play, but it can still be played as an individual game. Yeah, this game unfortunately did not sell well. I loved it. I think the reason why it didn't sell well is because you look at Spy Club as the name and you think it's going to be like a mystery game or a game where you're trying to solve puzzles and such, and it's not like that. It's basically sort of a cooperative card-based abstract game where you're moving cards around, trying to get the right cards on your board. But the coolest thing about this game is when you do certain things, you unlock mini modules, and there's a ton of modules, and all of these change the way the game's played, and they all give you, they're almost like little mini games, and now the game is completely different. And you play like a series of 5 games over 5 different sessions, and then you start over, and then you have all new mini modules that are adding to each other. And the game has unlimited replayability because of that, and it's just a really cool game, Spy Club.
Number 1.
Before I get to the moment you've been waiting for, I wanted to let you know that Game Toppers is giving 15% off premium game mats and accessories specifically to my US and Canada audience using code GameBoyGeek15 off for a limited time only. Hear more about this at the end of my final thoughts. All right, my number 1 is a game that is basically the game that is my favorite game of all time, Baseball Highlights 2045. This is the spring training version. Literally the only difference between this and the main game is this one's a 2-player version, where the game is really a 2-player game, but with the base game you play basically, you can play up to a 4-player tournament. So it has a little bit less cards in the base game because you only play 2 players. $4.50 to dip your toe in my favorite game of all time is amazing. I have a top 10 or top 100 games of all time. This was my number 1. You can see that video up there on the right if you want to learn a little bit more about this game, but even if you don't like baseball, the tactical card play and the deck building of building the best team and building a team that beat the person that just drafted somebody that does something, and you can draft something that kind of counters that. And this back and forth and deck building and figure out which cards to call at the end of each game. Even if you don't like baseball, don't even know baseball, this is one of those games you can still play because the tactical card play is just unbelievably fantastic. And for $4.50, you can dip your toe in my favorite game of all time. Now, granted, the big game again, you could play a tournament, which is definitely very fun. It has more free agents. Then there's the new bases loaded version that comes with all the expansions, including 2 of the promo cards that were for my Kickstarters. Like $4.50. Check and see if you even like it. If so, go buy the bases loaded version. But Baseball Highlights 2045 Spring Training, my number 1 deal under $10. All right, well, I hope this helped you find maybe one or many things you wanted to go buy pre-Black Friday, under $10. If they're sold out, well, maybe you'll find yourself in the bargain bins like I did, being lost in the rabbit hole. And this has been the Game Boy Geek, breaking down barriers, growing relationships with board games, and helping you find the next one you love. Game Toppers upgrades every game you play, being the one table to rule them all with Game Toppers, leg kits, dining covers, premium game mats, and more. And for a limited time only, my US and Canadian audience can get 15% off their premium game mats and accessories using the promo code GameBoyGeek15 off. Also, go to GameToppersLLC.com to check out all the options or for worldwide late pledges of their recent 5.0 Kickstarter.